Hey, how's it going? Today I want to talk about how there's a lot of inefficiencies in the workplace because most people are unsatisfied in careers and they're not actually using their gifts to their best abilities. A statistic that gets thrown around a lot is that something like 70% of people are unsatisfied in their careers, which is pretty remarkable, seeing as how you would think something that we do for half of our waking hours, people would get satisfaction out of or enjoyment out of. We have all these responsibilities that we have to attend to that can just pull our energy out of us. And if we're not careful, we can get to a state of apathy. And when they say most people die at 30 but are only buried at 80, that's where that apathy comes in. Because you're basically just existing. You're not actually living. You're not actually doing things that excite you or challenge you. You're just trying to get by, living your life in this constant state of anxiety and stress and feeling like the future is pulling you towards it, like you're trying to rush the minutes by. You're trying to rush through your days and weeks and months. And this is not a great way to live your life. I've been in this place. I think most people have. It's just a question of how long you stay in that until you get to the next level of this game of life. And what that level looks like is it's having a vision for your future self that's better than the one that you're currently in. And a quote by Viktor Frankl, a psychologist who was in the concentration camps, he said, "Everything can be taken from a man except for one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose our response to the emotions, to choose how we respond to the stimulus of the world around us." He observed that hope could be detrimental to a person's survival in these concentration camps. He could predict how quickly they would be gone after the hope in their eyes was gone. It was like 3 days or something. Because once you lose hope, you lose your will to live. And a practical way that we can take this extreme example and apply it to our lives is if we don't have a compelling vision for our future or something that we are striving towards, we're living in this state of apathy similar to those in that extreme example of the concentration camps. You have to have a reason to go on, to push forward. And a step you can take if you're in this situation is every day, dedicate 1 hour, dedicate 10 minutes to moving in that direction that you want to be going in, towards that dream, towards that vision of yourself that seems so impossible to achieve. And you'd be surprised, just that little bit of time, it will completely change the lens that you see your day-to-day life through. Because now you have a reason for the suffering, a reason for your existence. You're working towards something. You have hope. Maybe you don't know what you want to do. Maybe you feel pulled in 1,000 different directions and you've tried a couple things and given up on them, so now you don't trust yourself to follow through on things. And that's part of the process. It just comes down to recalibrating what it is that you actually want your life to look like, and then figuring out what the person that is in that life, what his decisions would be today. So just spend 10 minutes pretending to be that person, an hour pretending to be that person that you can see in the future, your ideal self. You're going to feel silly, foolish, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Just continuously do it. Set a goal for yourself, maybe 100 days. Take 100 steps towards your vision of what your ideal life would look like. Most people can take that first step, but then they have this fantasy in their minds that once they take that first step, the world will see them for who they are and they'll finally be successful. And when they don't get that immediate feedback, they just give up and move on to the next thing. But really, you need to take much more action towards that goal before you're going to see any results at all. If you think about like moving a train, when a massive freight train starts rolling, it doesn't just zoom off the second it starts up. It's a very slow creep. But after enough time, it's moving at like 60, 80 miles an hour. So you have to give yourself that time to build momentum. I like the 100-step rule. Take 100 actions towards your dream, towards your ideal self. And have a sticky note. Like I've done this before. Have a sticky note, and every time you take a step, every day, just cross it off. And you'd be surprised that you'll get to like 60 and you'll hear yourself start thinking like, man, this is never going to work. I'm wasting my time. But then you look, I haven't even taken 100 shots yet. It allows you to not be tricked by yourself. So having like a visual indicator that you're taking the actions and you have this goal of 100. It shifts the paradigm from taking action, not getting feedback, to I'm in the process of this. So just to summarize, I think there's a lot of inefficiencies in the world that we live in because most people aren't actually playing towards their strengths. They're not using their gifts. They're just using what's convenient. Like there's so many people that are talented, but they just accept these lesser versions of themselves because it's easy. So have a vision for the life that you want to live and take a step every day towards that vision of who you should be. Track it and make your choices, your feedback in bundles of 100.